Today on Learn Me Something
Einstein's brain.
versus
Weddings.
Josiah, welcome to 2022.
Thank you. Welcome to 2022 to you as well.
We have not recorded a podcast in a while.
No, we've been kind of busy with being sick and proposing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got engaged. Big deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah, so that was kind of more important to me than recording another episode. So sorry, it's been a little while, but
I still wanted to record, but he said.
I said no.
We also had Christmas break. We have not made an episode in a month or 3 weeks?
I think almost a month, yeah.
Wow. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Our few Patreons are probably furious with us. In other news, we've been told that we sound a lot alike when we record.
Yep.
So I will now be speaking like this.
And I will speak like this.
That gave off the vibe.
Shaky voice.
It gave off the vibe that this was like an iCarly bit that we were doing.
Yes. Then people can tell us apart. We'll see.
We have ambitious goals for Learn Me Something 2022. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about what this podcast is going to do. Mm-hmm. You excited?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm planning. I'm scheming.
Wow.
I do so much scheming these days.
How much scheming on a daily basis
You don't want to
say,
be near me when I'm scheming. Because I only think about the scheme.
Josiah gets really aggressive when he's in scheme mode.
Yeah. So if you ever see me and my eyes are closed and I'm rubbing my hands together and I'm have a slow little cackle, that's what I'm doing.
Do not approach.
Don't come up because I won't notice you.
Don't feed the beast.
Probably scheming. So,
oh boy.
Anyway.
But we do want to grow the podcast a lot, and the best way to do that is if you help us by telling people to listen to it.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
So
thanks
do that.
for doing that already. Or you can support us on Patreon if you want.
Yeah.
Link below.
Join the few.
Yeah.
We give
few,
you
the
our
proud.
word that we will probably not have such a long break again in the middle of a season.
And once a patron, always a patron.
That's right.
I just pounded my chest with my fist.
I did the same, kind of subconsciously.
Right. It's a call and response.
Yep. I felt it.
That's what you do. You see a patron out in the wild.
Hey. What's that from? There's a movie where they do that. Probably lots of
Tarzan?
tribal style
Yeah,
movies.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, with that fun rambling start, we issue in a new era, a year of podcasting.
A new year of podcasting. Yeah.
You want to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, and if you haven't listened, if this is your first episode,
yes.
This is a competitive teaching podcast where we each teach each other about a topic and have the listeners choose who wins and who loses each episode.
And it's a blast.
Losers got to do a punishment. We didn't have a punishment last episode.
Last episode
was... It was our Christmas truce, our second annual Christmas truce.
Which is probably my favorite Learn Me Something tradition.
Right. Happy to say that we had a great Christmas truce. It was very long. Maybe that's why we extended the break so long.
It was so nice. We didn't want to go back to war.
Yeah.
But we're here now, and I'm going to destroy you.
I got my helmet down, my face shield down, my spear out towards you, ready to destroy.
I have my Mel Gibson face paint on, and my war moccasins.
Oh, good.
Ready.
Good for
Tied
you.
down and ready.
That makes me nervous.
You did win our mini episode that was 4 months ago. So you can be in charge of choosing who wants to go first if you like.
Sure. You know what? I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please do.
Here we go. Sit back, relax.
I'm ready.
You relaxed?
I feel like we're rusty.
No.
Okay. You're right. We're doing
good.
Great.
We're
doing so good.
Okay, so today, our story begins. April 18th, 1955.
Are we doing our origin story again?
Yep.
But going back more?
Yeah, we're starting with our grandparents. Okay, so at the Princeton Medical Center in New Jersey, the world lost a great scholar. Do you know who this is?
No.
Al
No.
Al.
Wait, Al what?
Albert
Albert Einstein.
Einstein. Yeah,
Mr.
Albert
Einstein himself?
He died. Rest in peace.
I was hesitant to say that because it seemed too easy.
I thought he was like would have died early 1900s.
Yeah. I guess I don't know when really he lived.
He died 65 years ago.
Huh.
Yeah, kind of crazy, huh?
Well, what a legend.
Yeah, so he's known for his theory of general and special relativity, and so I looked into this. I tried to like grasp it enough to be able to give a 5-year-old understanding, and I think I'm almost there. But special relativity says that the time is relative and introduces time dilation and length contraction.
Wow.
So like time is relative. And then general relativity says that mass can bend space and time.
Is this your topic?
No.
Diving into this?
That's literally all I've got.
I was like, this seems like an aggressive thing to discuss in 15
First
minutes.
episode out of the gate of the year.
Relativity. Let's go. Let's do this.
No, that's about all I know. So you can think about like the balls on the trampoline illustration where you have the one in the middle and the other ones kind of circle around it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because objects of great mass can like bend space-time.
Yeah.
I don't know what space-time is really. I tried to... I was like, why does everyone say that? Space-time. I don't understand what that is.
Have you watched any sci-fi flick?
Yeah, but I hear the things they say and I just skim right over it.
It's bright blue, it moves really fast, and it lets you go through space at the speed of light.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
And there's a continuum. Do not mess with
know,
that.
why
Matthew McConaughey will get you.
Can you just take over my topic for me?
Yeah, I know everything about relativity.
Okay, so that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
All that to say, he was a great thinker and very smart, very intelligent, and a massive mind. Like when you say Einstein, you associate that with genius.
Genius level.
Like, okay, Einstein.
He probably created the IQ test, I bet.
I think he created wisdom.
Wow, me too.
So anyway, his ideas changed a lot about how scientists view the world and how it works. And so today we're going to kind of look into where these ideas come from and what it is about Einstein that made him a genius, but from one specific story.
I'm very fascinated.
This is where we introduce Dr. Thomas Harvey.
Is he still alive? Probably not.
He passed away, 15 years ago.
Oh, so he lived a while.
Yes.
He did good.
So he was working at the Princeton Medical Center as a pathologist and would regularly... Goofball. It's regularly.
Oh.
Shoot, I have to Venmo Joe King
Yes!
$2. Okay, I'll do that
Wait,
afterwards.
$22?
No, just 2.
Oh, okay.
Don't make me draw again for saying 22.
He's going to be so excited. He's been waiting for one of us to draw that goof for months
That was
now.
his idea. Anyway, so he would regularly perform autopsies at the medical center, at the hospital.
Uh-huh.
And one night he got a call. Come on in. There's another body. We need you to do an autopsy.
Is it Albert?
He walks in, sees on the table a dead Albert Einstein.
No. The story took a dark turn.
No, it begins on the day of his death.
Oh.
Right?
Every death is a new beginning.
Okay, but it's been dark this whole time.
Oh.
Right?
Is it about to get brighter?
No.
Lighten it up.
Not really.
Okay.
So he performed the autopsy and confirmed the cause of death was a ruptured artery in his chest.
Wow.
Not in his own chest. In Albert Einstein's chest.
Albert
that was
Einstein
confusing.
because Tim had a
He's
rupture in his chest.
An empathetic ruptured
Rupturer.
artery. Yeah. So Einstein's wishes were simple. Upon his death, this was his quote: "I want to be cremated so people don't come to worship at my bones." Because he was kind of he was like one of those first scientific celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he got famous. Even like during the time he was alive. He's famous now, but he was a celebrity back in those days.
Also very humble.
Yes. I don't want people to worship my bones.
Just cremate me. I don't want to deal with it.
It's too much. Yeah, he's kind of an interesting guy doing some research. But he was cremated and his ashes were scattered to his wishes, but not before a certain specimen was collected.
Oh no. Not the specimen.
So, being the curious scientist that Dr. Thomas Harvey was, while performing the autopsy, he cut into the skull, removed the brain, and took it home with him.
What? That just seems like that should not. That's not.
That's not what you typically do when you perform an autopsy.
Agreed. It's also not probably super legal, I would guess.
Yeah. So Einstein's family was not happy about this.
Understandably.
And he must have just been such a convincing guy because he's like, listen, this is one of the smartest guys of all time. We got to study the brain. We got to see how it works. Maybe there's something we can learn from this. And Hans Albert, Einstein's son, was like, okay.
Yeah.
They convinced him.
Makes sense. Keep his brain. Do whatever.
He's like, okay. So Dr. Thomas Harvey took it home, cut it up into over 200 little pieces, and sent chunks all over the country.
What?
For scientific study.
That seemed... okay, pause real quick. As I'm not a scientist, I cannot speak to this entirely, but I would presume that wouldn't it make more sense to study the brain as a whole for a little while and then chop it up?
Well, I'm talking, it's not like even chunks, like a little cubes. He would send little slivers, tiny slivers.
So he still has a good chunk of the brain.
He had quite a bit of it left.
Okay.
But I thought about that too. Like, why cut it up? Why not study it first as a whole brain?
Yeah.
But I guess the way they do it,
it was the 50s.
It's helpful to look inside it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Brain
Also,
science.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Not into it as much. So, what do people find?
Tell me, please.
Let's dig in. His brain has more glial cells.
No.
In the part of the brain responsible for synthesizing information.
I always knew it had something to do with the glials.
Yeah. And they also found out there's an extra ridge in his midfrontal lobe.
Oh, we know what that one is.
Very suspect, very unusual ridge. What is it?
Oh, we just talked about that part of the brain on this podcast in the past. I don't know what the ridge is.
They would say things about different parts of the brain. I'm like, I've heard that before.
Wait, you just
Stop,
1 second. I bet his
that.
limbic system was tiny.
Oh,
to make
I
more
bet.
room for his prefrontal cortex.
Probably.
You think? Wow.
I don't know.
Brain nerds.
Do you know what the corpus callosum is?
It's a small town in Texas, right on the coast.
No. Very close, actually. No, it's the part of the brain that connects the two hemispheres, the left and the right hemisphere.
That's fun.
So his was unusually thick.
Wow.
More than others, I guess.
Okay.
However, some of these studies are a little bit controversial because the glial cell study only was compared with 11 other brains.
Oh, that's suspicious.
And many of the things that they found aren't that significant. Like, it's different, but this doesn't necessarily say anything about his intelligence.
It's not like
or where
there's
intelligence
one
comes
thing
from.
where he's like, yep, that's what made him a genius.
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes, I think, of all time is this.
I'm excited for this of all time.
This professor said, you can't just take one brain of someone who's different from everyone else, and we pretty much all are, and say, aha, I found the thing that makes T. Hines a stamp collector. So that quote is by Terrence Hines, a psychologist and stamp collector at Pace University. So he's critical of these studies. This is from like a BBC article.
That does make sense, though, that everyone's brain is going to be different, and you can't.
He said, if you have this notion that stamp collecting was caused by something different in the brain, and you looked at my brain and compared my brain to 100 other brains, you could find something different and say, aha, I found the center of stamp collecting. And it's all bull. That's what he says.
That is very clever, actually. Also, good for him for being such an avid stamp collector.
Yeah, and proud of it, too.
Yeah,
Good
proud
for
of
him.
it. Dedicated. Unashamed.
Good for T. Hines.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, Dr. Thomas Harvey kept a lot of the chunks of the brain
Yep.
For quite a while.
Hung on to him.
He never turned in a substantial enough report like he said he would. Because part of the condition, I think, with Hans Albert was that he would come up with his full report with all these people's findings.
He didn't do it, did he?
He just never... There's very few results to report on.
Oh, so it wasn't necessarily his fault. It just was kind of inconclusive.
Yeah,
Okay.
partially. And I think he was just waiting for the one thing that would push his research paper to the top and like make the news
And here's what I found about.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
So that never happened, and he eventually got let go from the Princeton Medical Center.
Over Albert's brain?
I don't.
Just
Could be.
he was
Could be other
probably lazy.
things.
Bad work
I read
ethic.
one part that said it was because of that, is he just never followed through,
Yeah.
and he got a divorce and kind of disappeared into the Midwest.
He had his
to
one
Missouri
shot
and
at
Kansas.
fame, and it fell apart on him.
I guess so.
Until
And,
today, when we're bringing him back to the spotlight.
Yeah, he he deserves some recognition for stealing Einstein's brain. And so one of the scientists that he worked closely with thought he had died. That's kind of how off the grid he went.
Whoa, he really disappeared.
Yeah, there was this Japanese professor that came from Japan to find Einstein's brain, and he told him, he's like, yeah, he died 2 years ago.
What?
And they're like, okay, but I guess they must have known that he was still alive because they kept looking for him.
Does the brain belong to him? So, like, can he will it on to the next?
We'll get to that.
Okay, sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
Yeah,
That's my bad.
So one of the scientists he worked closely with thought he died, when in fact he was just working at a plastics factory in Kansas.
Makes
in
sense.
Lawrence, Kansas.
That would have been the first place I would have looked.
Yeah. So it was kind of sad. Like he had to work this other job to make it work because his science didn't go the way that he was wanting.
That is sad, especially. I mean, he had quite the opportunity. If
Yeah.
that had panned out into something, he could have been on top.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been the next Einstein, I bet.
Maybe.
Well, it depends on how many Galeals.
Maybe if he would have figured out a way to do some kind of brain transplant,
Yeah.
it would get all the pieces back, glue them together.
Attach him to his brain.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Shame on him
alas.
for not thinking about
Yeah.
that.
I mean, hey, if I was in that situation, that's probably what I would have done.
Yeah, I would have done things different.
So this Japanese professor that I mentioned, he searched all over the country, him and this other woman, and they would travel back and forth to other scientists who worked with pieces of the brain, finally
Yep.
tracked him down, went into his house, and they said, Dr. Thomas Harvey, do you have Einstein's brain?
Do you have the goods?
And so he kind of was like, yeah. So he walks into his kitchen,
No.
grabs...
Don't do it.
He grabs a spoon, a knife, and a cutting board from his
Don't.
kitchen,
Don't do it.
and he grabs 3 small jars. Not even small, decent sized jars from the other room, brings them
Yep.
in. Chunks of the brain, massive chunks of the brain.
Just
He's
sitting there
just had
still.
for, this is in 94, I think. So it was
That is
quite a while.
weird.
So probably about 40 years.
So he's working for Princeton, gets Einstein's brain,
Mm-hmm.
gets let go, goes and works for a plastic factory, but thinks,
I should keep
oh,
these.
I should really hang on to this stuff.
I really should. You never know.
Hey, honey, how many jars? Oh, no, he divorced. Hey, me, how many jars do I personally own? We'll just jam them in
Yeah,
there.
that should be big enough.
Toss them in the living room
Yeah.
until I think of something fun to do.
Just throw some. Yeah, he just random jars. I'm sure he just like kept them in his office shelf or something.
What a weird, thing, trophy, I guess.
I know.
or-
I guess he
I don't know.
wanted some kind of legacy, which I guess it worked. We're talking about him.
The keeper of the brain.
Yeah, and the he was the keeper of the brain because the Japanese professor asked him, "Can I have some of it?" So he grabs the cutting board and the knife. He takes a
What?
spoon, scoops it out, places it on his kitchen cutting board, and then takes a sliver off, puts it in a little film
He
canister.
wouldn't just give. He's not a scientist anymore, but he still wouldn't give him the whole brain.
Well, this is just some random guy
Yeah.
who had a camera with him, and
Oh, okay.
so but some guy that showed up and he still just gave him a chunk of the brain, which
Sure.
I kind of was surprised
Sure.
about.
He's not doing anything with it. He can share.
It's been sitting here. Nobody's been able
well.
to figure anything out really. Go for it. And so later that night, in one of my favorite events from this mini documentary that based on the the exploration of the Japanese professor.
Uh-huh.
The professor goes to a karaoke bar with his new souvenir, pulls it out on stage, and sings a song dedicated to Einstein's brain. He's like, "This is Einstein's brain," and people are like, "Woo!
Let's go!"
They probably have no idea what is happening. They're like, okay, woo!
Einstein's brain.
So that was a mid 90s. Eventually, he did move back to New Jersey
Uh-huh.
and gave the brain that he had to the man that had his old job at the medical center.
Good for him. So he
Yeah.
finally decided enough is enough. This needs to be scienced.
Back to the pathologist at the medical center. And meanwhile, there's hundreds of specimens all across the country, probably in
that's
people's
right.
attics and
Tucked away.
you're right.
Yeah.
And there's some on display places, but just little slivers.
That is kind of cool, though, because you never know when, like, some new technology or equipment comes out
Yes,
that they
it's
can be
possible.
like, hey, we still got some Einstein's brain in the closet. Let's check that out under this
Got some dried brain. Throw it under the microscope. See what's up.
this new doohickey.
Yeah.
Let's see what we see.
So I don't think his genius came. Like, it's inconclusive. It seems like there's nothing necessarily special about the way that his brain is built.
Uh-huh.
It's more he was very creative and curious, and he came up with the theory of relativity while he was working at a patent office.
Okay.
So he wasn't even like a scientist at this point.
Oh.
This was just based on a daydream, based on a story that he heard as a kid.
Just a creative guy.
Yeah, and he also obviously loved physics and could think and think and think about it. So
Yep.
just passionate about it.
Dedicated.
Yeah, dedicated and obviously smart. And I'm sure there's something in the brain that has to do with knowledge. But
It's 10% skill, 20% luck, 15% determined to the power of will.
sure,
However that
I don't
song
think so.
goes.
Yeah, I think the math is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's close though.
There's an equation
Yeah.
out there in a famous song.
And I bet Einstein knew it.
I think he created it.
He wrote that song, actually.
Little known. Yeah, he got writing credits for it. This little known equation from Einstein.
That was what was
It's
sang
the-
at karaoke night.
The equation
as well.
of greatness.
Yep.
The equation of reasons to remember the name.
Ooh,
So-
the greatness equation.
Yeah.
If we could come up with that, that would put us in the history books. Just
Okay.
because it sounds cool.
Well, I think we have it there. All done. We just take credit for it.
Yep.
Call it a day.
Call it a night. I'm gonna Google.
But,
You keep talking.
okay.
I just feel like I need to Google the greatness equation just to
See
know.
what's up there.
I'm sure something's out there.
So his last words were in German, and there was only one nurse with him at the time that he died. So right before he died, he muttered a few words in German, and she didn't speak German,
Uh-huh.
so nobody knows his last words,
Oh,
which is kind of a bummer.
that is a bummer. I bet they were super profound too.
Right.
Well, I don't know. If he had a rupture, then it probably was not a death that he saw coming for a while. Like, he probably didn't have a whole lot of time
Well,
to think about it.
Decent. I don't know much about. Okay, this is so fun to say a couple times in an episode about a topic that I'm bringing to the table.
Uh-huh.
About I don't know what this is. So, like, a artery in his chest ruptured, basically, and he died of internal bleeding from that whole thing.
Right.
So I think he was there for a couple weeks at the hospital.
Oh, so he did have some
Early.
time to think.
Yeah.
So they probably were great words.
I think it probably was a greatness equation.
I found out what it is, actually.
Okay, what is it?
According to LinkedIn. Oh, yeah, this is a LinkedIn article from a MBA entrepreneur.
Okay.
Greatness equals passions times talents plus skills.
Passions times talents. So you multiply what you're good at with how much you like it,
Yeah,
and
then
add in
how good you are at it, I guess.
Sure.
And that equals greatness.
Okay.
There you have it. It's like a 800-word article by a guy named Chris E. Ortega.
I buy it.
So it seems honestly foolproof.
Okay.
That's it. That's the greatness equation.
Had to be great. Okay. Well, I think if you put Einstein into that,
Yep.
I think he scores high on the passion,
Agreed.
probably some on the talent too.
Well, yeah, because he's got a whole lot of equations to
Sure.
back up his
Sure.
thoughts.
Yeah.
And then skills are in there. I'm not entirely sure how skills and talents are different, but he's a part of it. So I would be willing to come to the conclusion that Albert was in fact a great guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my topic. That's how Einstein's brain got stolen and was sitting in a closet for 40-some years.
That is honestly bizarre.
Very strange.
Even as a scientist, I think I would take issue with that. Like if I would just feel uncomfortable constantly. Like, oh, dead guy, brain in my closet right now.
Oh, you'd be uncomfortable with having the brain?
It makes a lot of sense to study it, to take it and study it, because it's like, sure, what if
Sure.
we discover something?
Oh, but keeping
But
it.
then afterwards, yeah, if I was like a recently divorced guy who just started a new job at a plastic factory, I feel like I would go home at night and just like glance into the corner where it's sitting and just be like, man,
It's eerie.
I'm a little uneasy that that thing's over there. Anyway, that's my hot take on brain keeping.
That's hot. I think you'll get some flack for that.
Yeah, you guys, if you want to flame me on the socials, do what you got to do. But I stand by it. I don't want to hang on to brains.
Okay. While we transition to your topic, can you turn around and deal with the situation that I've created?
Uh-oh.
And I will talk. It's not a situation. We're flipped seats. Are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Oh, sick. That's actually a test.
We went.
Now we know.
It worked.
Yeah, it works.
You don't have to constantly wiggle the mouse.
Okay. Because I thought I screwed up the recording, but we're good.
That would have been really sad.
Okay. If you would like to follow us on Patreon, part of that you don't follow, you support. If you'd like to support us on Patreon,
Yeah.
you can do that. It's linked below. That will help the show keep going, and we appreciate it. Once a patron, always a patron. Okay, what do you got?
Also, we intend to retire this year on nothing but this podcast.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're gonna have to. To the people listening to this, you're gonna have to start pulling your weight and sharing this thing.
That is going to be very important.
We're gonna need approximately 100,000 times our current listening rate.
Yeah.
In order for us to achieve that goal. So
Yeah, and I'm getting married this year, so it's gonna be important.
yeah, we've got some financial stuff. You're getting married. We really want a hot tub.
Yeah.
And a place to live where we could put that hot tub. So we've got some things in the works.
So just keep that in mind, everybody. If
Yeah.
you're considering, just know that this is our only job.
Yeah, this is our last resort for life. Okay. Josiah, my topic is very, very similar, actually.
Okay.
I'm talking about nothing to do with Albert Einstein.
I knew it.
No, I wanted to talk about something timely, and I knew that you had just gotten engaged, which is very exciting. And I know that Abby listens to this podcast as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do you two a service and just help you out a bit.
Okay.
So my topic for tonight is weddings.
Nice.
And all of the things I could think of that have to do with weddings.
Oh, this is super practical.
Yeah. So when I say all things I can think of that have to do with weddings, I have two main avenues.
Okay.
The history of popular wedding traditions and unique wedding traditions that you could choose to utilize if you'd like.
Okay.
So, as far as the history, one thing I found that's very interesting is a lot of things go back to the Roman times.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things have to do with warding off evil spirits. So just keep that in mind. So to start off with our evil spirit discussion, we've got bridesmaids. Now, in the Roman times, bridesmaids were actually decoys, which is very fun.
Like a mannequin?
No, they were real people. But
Like, who's the bride?
yeah, they all wore very similar things to the bride because they were very superstitious back then. They thought if the evil spirits come and try to ruin the wedding or mess up the bride or groom somehow, things would be bad. So they all dressed like the bride, and the thought was that they would be decoys and they would confuse and distract evil spirits, so that the wedding could go off flawlessly.
Okay, so you increase your odds of a successful ceremony
By
if the
employing
demons
decoys.
are going after some other woman.
Correctly about that.
Correctly, they would do that. But I would think sometimes, if the ceremony goes wrong, you can just blame it on the demon picking the right person.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'm mostly talking about like American traditions, but a lot of them came from trying to ward off evil spirits.
Okay.
So a lot of these things, that's significantly why they were created. So bridesmaids, big group of girls, their main purpose, get up there, distract those spirits so that
Doesn't
the
matter
wedding
who
can
you
go
are,
on.
get up here and be distracting.
And I think my guess is even in those times, the bridesmaids had meaningful relationships
Probably.
to the bride. But they also had a purpose, and it was supposedly pretty dangerous. But the person who had... Oh, that's not true. There were two people who had very actually dangerous jobs in a wedding when these traditions were first being formed. The first person who had a very real dangerous job was the maid of honor. She was picked by relationship. So just like today, they picked the person closest. Hey, will you be my maid of honor? Oh my goodness, yes! And that's the same. But the maid of honor was in charge of waiting on them for like 2 weeks leading up to the wedding. So they basically did everything and got the bride anything she possibly wanted. So her job was a little more intense back in the day.
Okay.
And it put her life in extreme danger a lot of the time because the maid of honor, for whatever reason, was in charge of carrying the monetary portion of the wedding. So back in the day, as you probably know, a lot of weddings were more business deals than love interests.
Arranged.
And so a whole lot, I would say probably most weddings came with some sort of monetary exchange.
Okay.
As well
like
as
a goat
the
or
bride.
a piece of land.
Or just a whole lot of money. Yeah.
Oh,
any of those.
cash.
Yep.
Bitcoin.
But it was the maid of honor's job to keep track of the monetary value of the wedding, which means that they were actually put at significant risk to like thieves and bandits and robbers who would all, try to attack to get all that money. So it was an actual life-threatening position, and there were times it did not go well for the maid of honor, but that was her job. I don't know why.
Part of the job.
Yeah, you sign up for it. Your life's in danger. So as we talk about these things, I just want you and Abby to just know what these positions should be for, and what should be expected, that kind of thing.
Maybe they pick a bridesmaid that they weren't that close to.
Just in case.
If something happens, they still got a good couple backups.
Just in case things went wrong. The other person with a life-threatening position, which I find pretty fascinating actually, was the best man. Now this is linked, I read a couple different sources that said it was linked to a couple different places. Some said it was Germany, some said it was Scotland in the 16th century, but the general story is the same. The best man was, and there were also groomsmen, and they were just, kind of standard to what groomsmen are now. They're just kind of around.
They're there to look at.
Yeah, but it's all eye candy. But the best man was picked based off of his ability to wield a sword.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the reason, it was a life-threatening position once again. And the reason was, like I mentioned earlier, there's two reasons. One, weddings used to be more of a business transaction, like I mentioned. So the groom often needed a swordsman right next to him in case someone objected or something went wrong. He needed to be able to
So
fend.
this is practical.
Yeah. But in other news, linked to Scotland in the 16th century, Scottish men were known to marry women from their small villages. They lived in a lot of small villages.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a lot of times they ran out of women and there were too many guys. So a guy could choose to go to a neighboring village and kidnap a bride, and she would become the bride. So this was a risky endeavor, of course. So to do that, they picked their best man, who was good with a sword.
Okay.
Because the swordsmen, they would go off fighting to the neighboring village together. They would choose a future wife. They would bring her back, and they would hold the wedding ceremony. Apparently, the women just kind of let this happen. And then the swordsman, aka best man, was up there to protect the groom against some sort of, lashback.
Which might, I could imagine that happening.
Yeah. Also, if the bride decides to run, or if the family is upset that they kidnapped her, all those things really,
Very
really
possible.
helpful to have a wielding swordsman right
Somebody
next
who
to
could
you.
stick him, no problem.
Just protect.
1, 2, 3, all
Done.
taken care of.
Wedding goes on.
Stab, stab, stab.
know.
Say I do.
So there you go. Maid of honor, charge of all the money for some reason, subject to a lot of thievery and violence. And the best man, he's pure defense and also in charge
It's
of
like a
kidnapping.
sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. I hope this is informing how your wedding
Yeah,
should
it
be.
is.
Bouquets, also known as bouquets, depending on how you choose to pronounce it.
A bouquet.
These we're gonna, if you didn't see this coming, we're gonna go back to evil spirits for a second.
Okay.
These were not typically flowers. Back in the ancient Greece and Rome days, bouquets were all herbs. So there was garlic.
Did they like light them on fire?
No.
Garlic for the vampires.
Yeah. They were really concerned about vampires too, I bet. But they had garlic, they had dill, they had lots of spices, lots of other herbs. And the purpose was, just to generally ward off evil spirits.
Okay.
So they all carried them around. The modern bouquet did not become popular until 1840. So bouquets
Wow.
were very different until just a couple hundred years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When Queen Victoria married Prince Albert, and she chose to carry a bouquet of his favorite flowers.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And then everyone was like, well, of course we want to be like Queen Victoria. So modern bouquets were born. So if you want some garlic in your bouquets, totally would understand. The wedding veil, picture this.
Okay.
Part of it was to disguise the bride, to protect her from evil spirits.
Surprise, surprise.
But another part was to keep the wife's appearance hidden during arranged marriages until after the ceremony was over, because this
You want it
seems
to be
really
a surprise.
well.
Woohoo!
This is gonna
Who
sound
did
really
I just
sad,
marry? Okay.
and it probably is sad.
Oh, if you don't like how they look, then
Yeah.
it's too late to back out.
Yep, because it's like a binding thing, and they took it pretty seriously
That is very weird.
back then. So they're like, just in case you don't like
Put
what
this
she
sack
looks
over
like.
your head. You can take it off once you're married.
I'm pretty happy we live in the age that we live in.
But you think people just accept this and that's the way it is, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, some people probably. I think more people are okay with it than I would think right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I don't know.
Like
It's-
if everybody does that, that's just what you do.
It's just how it is. And
Get
you
married
don't
to
even
somebody
really...
that you don't know what they look like until you're already married. And then good luck.
Also, just arranged marriages in general.
Yeah.
Very weird to me. Wedding rings. The reason you put them on your ring finger on your left hand is because ancient Romans believed specifically that the fourth finger on the left hand had a vein that directly connected to the
Yeah,
heart,
I've heard that before.
called the vein of love. And so that's why you put the ring there, unless you're me and your ring doesn't fit anymore,
You wear it like a bracelet.
and you wear it on your bracelet.
That's pretty cool, though.
It's above the vein of love. It runs through my wrist, too.
In 150 years, they're going to be like, the reason you wear a ring on your wrist is this
Ancient.
podcast.
Ancient Learn Me Something fans will be known as like
Started
our
a
own
mo-
nationality.
movement.
Also, rings started with the Egyptians. They were a symbol of eternity because circle.
Okay.
And I think they were meant for, or like they were shaped after gods and stuff like that, ancient gods. And then Alexander the Great conquered the Egyptians, and the Greeks were like, "That's pretty cool. We're taking it."
I like that.
They took it and were like, "Yep, a ring is now a sign of devotion." And then the Romans conquered Greece, and they were like, "Ring is marriage." So there's how rings came about. Very exciting.
Devotion, different. So the Romans...
Not necessarily marriage, just devotion to something, maybe a deal or an arrangement.
Okay.
Or probably like nobility, that kind of thing.
Okay. So one thought, this has to do with marriage. One thought, this has to do with devotion to something. Like if you love video games, get a video game ring.
Video game ring.
Show
I've got
people.
a couple for
Tell
sure.
people, yeah.
Wedding announcements. This one's very fun. Middle Ages. Most people are illiterate. So they paid a position that was popular in those times called the town crier.
A shouter, yeah.
Whose job was just to run up and down the streets shouting important information to people. And so whoever came to your wedding was literally just whoever heard the random guy shouting about it. Yeah, so literally you would go to the town crier, you'd be like, "Hey, here's this money, need an announcement. Got a wedding going on in 3 hours." And he'd be like, "On it.
Be right back.
think I can cover 12 blocks."
Hey!
Yeah. "Guys, wedding!" "You probably don't know him, but come by." And so they did. They came. Anyone who heard it
went door to door to their friends too, right?
Yeah.
Friends and family.
I bet probably the people.
But like, if you want to party, tell everybody.
Get the town crier involved. That's the only way to do it. I can give you some suggestions for good town criers in the valley.
Okay.
For your guys' wedding if you need
referral?
it. Yeah.
Do you have any like discounts or anything?
I've got some affiliate links. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
A portion of it goes to me. 10%.
Okay. No, that's great actually.
Yeah. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps me out a lot.
That's perfect. I love that.
Nobler, richer people, they would hire monks to write invitations in fancy calligraphy. So there's that really important piece of information.
That still happens.
Yeah. Giving the bride away, it's pretty sentimental now, but if you can imagine, back then it was a transfer of ownership.
Yeah.
In arranged marriages. Now
it totally makes sense, though.
Yeah, now it's like a sweet thing, but back then it was like, who gives this person to be? I can't remember how the phrase goes.
Yeah.
And then the dad's like, I do.
I do.
Because a transfer of ownership.
Now give me
Again, I do
cash.
Not condone some of these ancient.
Sounds like you do.
I don't.
I thought this whole thing was like persuasive.
And here's why. Well, I guess I have been trying to convince you to do all these things. So maybe just skip this one, and then maybe the veil. You already know what Abby looks like, so that's good. She can have a veil if she wants.
Yeah.
Cake. You wanna do some cake talk?
Cake. Yeah.
Way back in the day, used to be just scones and barley. Just basic bread.
Just like a bowl of barley, and you just eat it like mixed nuts.
No, they would break it over the bride's head.
What is barley?
It's just some bread material.
I just think of it like seeds or something. I know.
I think it's like loaves, probably barley made into a loaf of bread, as you would expect. And that is broken over the bride's head for luck and fertility. Then the husband and the wife, they eat a couple crumbs, and that's how they're unified.
Instead of cake.
Yeah.
Bread.
That's
smashed over the bride's head.
Yep. So it's very unexciting.
Is that where smashing the cake in the face comes from?
No. I don't know. Well, maybe. Possibly.
Well,
I should have figured that out.
It could just be one of those things that they sound similar, so maybe someone says, this is probably where it came from.
Yeah.
But
when in reality, they were probably like, we feed each other the cake, and then some prankster did it, and it went viral.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk through a couple stages of cake use because in history there's some pretty fun stuff.
Okay.
So next thing, this was ancient Rome times. Broke it over the bride's head, all that normal stuff. Mm-hmm. Barley talk.
It looks like quinoa. I just looked it up.
Huh.
It's like a grain, like rice.
Interesting
kind of thing.
So they cook that into some bread, break it over her head.
I guess so.
Eat a couple crumbs, and call it a day.
I guess so.
Fast forward to the medieval days. The English. This is pretty fun. I would like this tradition. They would stack buns and scones and cookies They would stack them as high as they possibly could without the little tower falling over.
It's like a game.
Yep, and then the bride and the groom would try to kiss over it. And if they could kiss successfully without knocking over the tower, they would have good luck and fortune. And if it toppled, they would have bad luck.
The demons are coming.
Yeah.
What if they built it so high that they couldn't kiss over it?
I would imagine that's just bad luck.
I thought that would be a good thing. If you're good at it, symbolizes
the stack is so high. Yeah.
Wealth or
so much fortune.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, you'd have to stack it. Like imagine they're both 6 feet tall, or the shortest one is 5'4". It's a long way to go with scones and buns and cookies.
I don't know what ancient buns look like, but
or ancient scones.
But I think if you make it for a wedding, you could flatten them out.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. They're probably
that
poor.
occasion could have been
maybe
there.
you don't have enough money to.
They didn't have enough Galeals in their brain to really be
figure it
dedicated enough. But there's that fun. Still not sweet or really great, but overall goal was good luck, good fortune.
Okay.
Next, things got a little weirder. They decided, you know what, let's nix the breadery. We'll just go with a bridal pie. And so some of the ingredients in this pie were oysters, lamb testicles, and lamb throat, the rooster comb, and some pine kernels. Cook all that stuff into a pie, and that represents a happy life. And no one wanted to eat it, but at a wedding, if you declined a slice, it meant bad luck.
What was the first ingredient?
Oysters.
Okay, I've only had one of those ingredients, and it was not oysters.
Well, now I'm interested, but we'll just move on.
We'll move on from there. So this is another thing that like everybody does it.
Yeah,
So I guess
doing
we'll do it.
And then
We hate it, but
they hit a ring. Let's talk single ladies. They hit a ring in the pie. Extra incentive for the single ladies to get in there because whoever found it would be the next one to get married.
they just do the ceremony right there.
Yeah.
First, you find
Why
a
not?
ring. Everybody stops what they're doing.
Pick a guy. Get
New
your swordsman.
wedding. Yeah.
Get your best wielding swordsman
Right
friend
there.
to go kidnap someone.
Yeah, which is why all the single people bring their whole potential wedding parties with them.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
You never know.
Finally, in the 17th century, they finally switched to cake that's a little bit closer to what we're familiar with today. It was stacked, which actually came from that medieval bun scone stacking method. Kind of fun. And my favorite part is this is what the bouquet toss came from. The bride would take a bite of the cake and toss the rest of it over her shoulder like the bouquet toss.
Everybody open up. Wait, 2 people?
Just
onto the ground?
Well, that's a good question. No, I'm going to assume on the ground because the groom also threw something. He threw a plate. I don't know why. He just, she got to throw a cake. So
I want to break something.
he threw a plate, and the rule was if the plate broke, that meant bad luck. And if the plate held together, good fortune.
That seems like something that's hard to control.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something to do with like throwing salt over your shoulder.
Yeah, no, just the full cake,
The entire
full plate for some reason.
Okay. I like that. I think Abby and I will try that one.
Might utilize that. Good. Yeah, forget the bouquet toss. Go all the way.
I just want to make a mess.
Yeah.
I want to have a food fight actually.
And then the garter grab. Is that what you call it?
It's a little aggressive.
I didn't look too much into this one, but apparently it was tradition for people to tear up the bride's dress, just totally trash it.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I'm again, these traditions are just weird. And so to appease people and distract them, the groom would tear off a small part of the dress and throw it so that they could escape to the reception without the whole dress being torn up.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So he's like, they're going to tear off this dress anyway. Here's something to go fetch. Like, go get it.
Yep.
And then while they're
Yeah.
trying to find it or grab it.
Yeah.
That.
To get to the reception. I'm guessing that that's not legit. Like, that people back then didn't get so easily
You're right.
distracted. It was probably just a fun
Not,
random
not
thing.
like dogs. Yeah.
There's also a million other things, but I just kind of wanted to conquer the
Sure.
core facts, so that you just had a better understanding of what's going on.
And this
for your
helps
wedding.
too. It gives us time to
Yeah,
what we want to implement with the food fight for sure. Probably swordsman.
yeah. Well, and you really need to know when you're picking people who has the best capabilities for everything.
Yeah.
Like, maid of honor really needs to be a tough gal.
Right.
Financially
Right.
capable, of course. Stuff like that.
So, or the best man's got to be athletic.
Extremely.
Okay
yeah,
with
very fit.
stabbing
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
for no reason really.
Yeah.
Did they kill people? Did you say that, or was it more like?
If there was an attack,
or is it more just like a sport? Ting ting ting.
No, I think it was actually pretty violent.
Okay.
As if, you kidnapped the woman, and when they came to get her back, the fight was on.
Okay.
So pretty serious
Okay.
swords action. No, this is not fencing, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is it like a fun fencing match?
Real quick, not real quick because I have a lot of these because they're fun. Unique wedding traditions from other cultures. These are things you can choose to implement if you like.
I know one. The goat polo game is a wedding.
Oh yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that
yeah.
from the Underground Sports?
From a ways ago.
Yeah.
A couple episodes back.
Where they play polo basically with a severed goat carcass
Yeah.
or goat carcass without the head. Try and throw it in a hole, and that's like a wedding game.
Always fun.
That's a good one.
Yeah, very good. I looked this up and found that there are 20 million of these. So I wrote down some fun ones.
Okay.
They're all from different locations. I do want to preface that not everyone from these countries and these cultures do these things.
It's not a generalization.
Yeah. So if you're from one of these countries I'm about to mention, I do not just assume that every person from your country does this. First off, we've got South Korea. Before a groom can leave with his wife, the groomsmen and family members take off the groom's shoes. Then they bind his ankles with some rope, and they beat his feet with either a stick or a dried fish.
Okay.
And so only lasts for a couple minutes, and it's pretty painful, and it's pretty much just supposed to be entertaining, but it's meant as a test of strength and character.
It's like birthday spankings.
Yeah, exactly. Just tie your ankles together and beat your feet for a bit.
Hit him with the fish.
Yeah, why
Okay.
not? So there's that. You've got that as an option. In Kenya, for the, forgive me if I don't pronounce this right, the Maasai people, Maasai, father of the bride spits on his daughter a whole lot.
Like once, like
Just
10 times.
all
Just
over.
the entire ceremony.
Just
He's just
constantly.
drinking water.
I think it's just a couple
spitting.
spits.
He drinks water the week leading up to it. Just so he
I've
can
got to prepare.
have enough spit going.
Spitting in that culture is a symbol of good luck and fortune, and they often spit on their hands before shaking hands with elders as a sign of respect. So, spitting, popular choice there. Scotland, in some parts, typically in the Orkney Islands, they've got something called blackening, which seems pretty fun. Grooms and brides, the day before a wedding, they're taken by all their friends. They're covered in soot and feathers and flour, basic kind of tarred and feathered,
Sure.
non-violently.
Sure.
And then they're paraded through the streets very noisily.
Okay, we're definitely doing that one.
Yeah, night before, I'm grabbing you. We're doing the full tar
Bring
and feather.
it on.
Yep. Any guesses as to why they did this? Or some still do this?
You said it's Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
To be funny?
It's to ward off evil spirits, mostly.
I should have guessed. I knew that.
Germany has a couple fun ones. They've got, and I'm just going to accept I'm not going to get most of these words right. The Polterabend, which is, I think this is pretty fun. The night before the wedding, all the guests come to the bride's house, and they smash a lot of plates and cups and bowls and dishes.
Uh-huh.
Basically, they just smash a lot of crockery.
That's good.
And then they leave. and the couple has to clean it all up to demonstrate overcoming challenges as a married couple.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really, it's for their own good.
Yeah, they need to understand how this stuff works.
You're gonna get new stuff as gifts anyway.
I just think it's hilarious. I'm picturing just 50 people coming to your house and just like trashing your house, throwing stuff around, fine china and stuff, and then just like, well, see you guys tomorrow at the big day.
You gotta get going.
I gotta get to bed. You guys get this cleaned up.
See you tomorrow, bright and early.
And another German one, Baumstamm-Sagen. Newlyweds at their wedding saw a log and half in front of their guests. Pretty fun. Also symbolizes working together. So
yeah,
got that as an option.
Okay, so what we need to do is just some kind of activity that we're working together.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't think you'll get it. You just you need to experience it kind of beforehand.
Otherwise it's not going to work out.
Yeah. In China, it's called. Wait, no, there's an actual name. We'll call it the crying ritual. The actual name is Zuo Tang. And this is a fun option for you.
Yeah.
Well, really, it's for Abby. Sorry, and Abby's female family. Okay. A month before the wedding, the bride starts crying for 1 hour a day, every single day. After 10 days, the mom joins in, cries for 10 more days. Then after those 10 days, the grandma joins in. They cry for 10 days, and then whoever's left after that, the rest of the female family members, they get together and kind of cry in unison.
That sounds so exhausting.
Just an hour a day. You just go in, you cry it out. And it dates back to China's Warring States era, where it was pretty well known for brides to cry on their wedding day.
Okay.
So there's that as an option. I've got 3 more, and then I promise I'll be done. The Tidong people in Malaysia and Indonesia have a bathroom ban. So this might be a good choice for you guys. After the ceremony, the bride and the groom can't leave their home or use the bathroom for 3 days. They're kept under guard, under lock and key, and they're only allowed by the guard small amounts of food and water to compensate for not being able to go to the bathroom.
Sure.
Yeah.
So is this a similar situation where you have to go through something horrible together?
It was a sign of good fortune, or not a sign of good fortune, but if you didn't do it, it was a sign that things were going to be bad.
Oh.
So it's kind of,
So you work together by picking a corner.
Yeah.
And using that corner together.
Exactly. Oh, but you're not allowed to use the bathroom.
No, but you have to.
You're not allowed.
You can't.
You're not allowed to. No bathroom.
Yeah, but that's why you pick a corner. There's no way.
You're misunderstanding. Well, I think they're like starved.
For like days beforehand?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Whatever scientifically it takes for you to be able to not go to the bathroom for 3 days.
That's what they do.
Yeah, they do that, I bet. And when they are in those 3 days, they're not eating or drinking very much.
Okay.
So just tiny.
Just enough to barely keep them alive.
Yeah. Might be for you, might be not for you. Mm-hmm. It just really depends on what style of wedding you guys are going for.
That doesn't sound as fun.
Yeah, okay.
To me, but...
Well, then we've got this as an option.
Think about it.
This is Sweden now. The groom leaves the room. All the male guests get to kiss the bride. And if the bride leaves the room, all the female guests get to kiss the groom. So there's an option.
Right on the mouth?
Yeah. Why not?
In Sweden?
Uh-huh. Again, I would like to reiterate that I do not believe that every person from these countries does this.
Okay, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this. Is this like the I don't know. Just, okay, line up. Come on up. Mwah.
Yeah, I don't know the logistics.
Mwah.
It might be like, oh, they left. We can if we want. I don't know if it's
everybody
like
has to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting detail we'd have to really dive into if you choose to go that route.
Sure. There's some logistics to work out.
Yeah, and then last one. This one I don't suggest just because I think it would put a downer on the evening. This is the Daur people, or Dar, D-A-U-R, people of Mongolia. The holy cow, this is a lot. The couple kills and guts a baby chick and then inspects its liver. If the liver is healthy upon inspection, then the couple can set a wedding date and they just move on with normal wedding things.
Oh, okay.
If the liver is unhealthy, it's diseased or something like that,
Find a new chick.
they have to keep killing baby chicks until they find a healthy liver. So, you can do that. I wouldn't be against it. I don't know if it would be as festive as what you're looking for.
It's not as lighthearted as maybe you want it. Well, it depends on like what kind of feel you're going for.
Exactly. It really depends on the evening. That's why I'm not trying to tell you to do any of these. Just really pick and choose the ones that best fit the vibe.
Create our own unique wedding experience.
You're looking for the best possible atmosphere with the resources you've been given.
Yeah.
At assuming the maid of honor can hang on to it.
And assuming nobody dies or anything.
Yeah.
Or gets stabbed or
one last one, speaking of money, that I just remembered about and did not write in my notes. I forget where, but there's one where when you're born, they plant, I think, 3 trees. And then when you get married, they sell the trees and that funds the wedding. So it's like when you're born, your wedding is kind of being invested in.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too late for you guys for that specific one,
wedding.
but
I don't know. I haven't talked to my parents about it.
yeah.
I would assume they have not done that.
Well, they'd have to break into someone else's house now since you've moved a couple times. Or maybe they've brought the tree with them. Maybe it's more of a bonsai situation.
Oh, just a small one.
Yeah.
Are those expensive?
I don't know.
Probably.
I bet it's fine, probably.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just sneak down at night, sneak over there at night.
Yep.
Wait, is that the house I was like born in?
When you're born, they plant a tree. Maybe they planted it on like public land and they can just go grab it. There's an option.
So I'll say, hey, they're gonna say, hey, we got to take a quick road trip to California. We're taking this chainsaw in this truck. We'll be right back.
Gotta sell this tree. I don't know financially how much a tree can get you. I mean, after 20-something years, 24 years.
I think maybe they like plant a whole grove, some fruit tree.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll take the trees, build some kind of nice furniture.
Oh, yeah. Take the trees, build some form of small home.
Mm-hmm.
That would certainly spike the investment.
A tiny home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really
I hope they did that.
Really what you'll want to do is just talk with them and see kind of how they handled that, and then you can
go from there.
Yeah, plan your wedding accordingly.
Okay.
You know?
What's their budget like? What type of trees did you plant?
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to be pushy, Mom and Dad. But what type of trees are we looking at, and how much can we expect?
We're looking like a couple of little birches, or we got some nice maples, or
I would advise
walnut.
Probably that you get on that quickly, just in case it takes a little bit to sell or prepare. You want to just have that knocked out.
Tree market's hot.
Is it?
Tree market's hot.
Good.
Yeah.
Inflation
always will be.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we cut our trees, it was kind of a lull.
Oh, okay. That's why your wedding was so cheap.
Yeah, it was it was a slow year.
Right.
The tree market.
Nobody was buying trees.
Demand was low, supply was high. It was this whole situation, kind of a rough go, but
should have held off for a couple of years.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what the tree market's gonna look like.
Yeah, really.
So there you go.
That's a lot of very helpful information. I think we'll take with us the throwing the cake over the shoulder, but
good.
Turn it into a food fight.
Good, yeah. Throwing plates too, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. Good. Not at people, but just in general.
Just throwing
at the
them
walls
behind
and
you.
Stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe at the floor.
Yeah.
And then swordsman.
Yeah.
Is
gonna need
best man for sure.
Just to be safe, really.
Yep. What else? Oh, I think I like the idea of breaking bread. Literally breaking bread.
breaking actual bread
Right.
over Abby's head.
Right. That sounds like a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be a fun time.
Instead of the cake. Or she'll throw the cake and you'll
She'll throw
also
the
break
cake.
bread.
We won't actually eat any of the cake.
Well, she
The
gets
cake
a
is
bite.
the cake is for throwing.
She
Okay,
gets
she
one
gets a
bite
bite,
and then she throws.
And then the cake is for throwing.
Yeah.
And the bread is for eating
Well,
and breaking.
the bride and groom get to eat it, but just a couple crumbs. So
Oh, right.
none of the food is going to be
There'll be
utilized.
very little food.
Yeah.
Mostly just carnage.
Yeah. It's mostly weddings are about destruction. I've found in my experience.
And then I think we'll just clean up everything afterwards too.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, all the guests will have to go, and you guys will
Right.
need to learn.
It's a little bit different, but I think just to make it our own.
Yeah.
So
Do you want me to beat your feet before or after the ceremony?
I'd rather dead fish than stick.
Okay.
So probably before.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
And yeah.
I've already talked with some bakery friends. We should be able to kind of flatten out all of our scones, so that'll help us stack higher.
Bun stacking.
Yeah.
And I think
Bun
get
stacking.
I'll get the dads with lots of water so they can get ready to spit.
And when you accept Abby, you're gonna want to spit on your hand and shake his hand,
Sure. Okay.
just to keep your faces covered.
This seems very okay. Like everybody talks about wedding planning and how hard it is and like how time consuming it is, but
Seems like we just planned most of it,
I don't know.
and
Seems pretty easy.
we recorded it too, so we can just kind of play it back for Abby, and she'll know kind of what you and
we're-
I are expecting.
Right. And then she'll just be like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'll have some extra garlic on hand.
Okay. Just be safe.
Yeah. And whatever wedding dress Abby picks, you're going to want to make sure that you can buy that in bulk so that her bridesmaids can also,
Sure.
just we need some decoys. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, I like that. This is good. Pretty much taken care of. So thank you.
The whole
this
thing.
is one of the most practical episodes we've done. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, and I'll get you that link, that affiliate link to the town
Okay,
crier,
sure.
so that we could get people invited.
Get him going. Yeah, because there's quite a bit of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Here, so
It's a big area. If we start now, he should be able to have the town covered by April, I would say.
should be good.
Yeah, so
So we'll see. But cool.
good work. This
like
was
it.
Very productive.
Yeah.
Oh, that was very funny. 30 seconds. Why should people vote for you?
I talked about Dr. Thomas Harvey, who stole Albert Einstein's brain and kept a large majority of it for 40-some years.
Rich. Weird.
And it took you on a little journey following Einstein's brain. And it's all over. Who knows where it is now?
A journey I never knew that I needed.
Yeah.
But I did. I did need it.
Yeah, you needed it. So you're welcome.
I hope someday to now find a piece of Einstein's brain.
New bucket list.
What if one of the 200 slices has been hidden with precisely laying clues
Oh.
that I can use?
Okay, I like that. Somebody drops like a website, you go to it.
Albert
First
Einstein.
clue.
It's like the Forrest Finn treasure, but for Einstein's brain.
Exactly.
I would
Exactly.
spend some time there for sure.
Yeah. How about you? Why
yeah.
should people vote for you?
Talked about a splattering of website. Nope. All right, I'll
There you
goofball.
go. That's it. Goofball.
Man, I almost made it through a whole episode. Venmo Joe King, $3.
What? Okay.
This guy's getting rich
This
right
is
now.
stupid. We gotta take all these out. You can't.
Yeah, I'm tearing
Who
these
does he
up.
think he is?
He's gonna be so excited.
Is that actually what it says?
Yeah. And I just tore it up, so I'll never Venmo him again.
I'm tearing it up too.
Yeah.
Take that, Joe.
Take that, Joe.
Take your $5 and leave.
Yeah, get out of our podcast. I talked about a splattering of wedding concepts. Really, there's not much cohesion in my topic, but
That's okay.
talked about a whole lot of random stuff.
Yeah.
And it all generally was about weddings. So there's why you should vote for me.
Because I was on topic.
I'm excited about this punishment. Do you want to tell them what it is?
Yeah, so I'm a little nervous, but also
Me
a little
too.
excited. So there's
Me
not one
too.
specific punishment, but whoever wins gets to choose a punishment that one of us has done in the last 35 episodes, or I guess 33 because of the 2 Christmas truces.
Yep.
And they get to bestow that punishment upon the loser.
Yeah.
So if I win,
have you already picked one?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I might have you run another backwards 5K.
Oh, you can pick ones that I've already done too?
Right? I think so.
Okay.
Or would it be fun to do ones that they haven't done?
I mean,
that makes more sense, actually.
So I pick a punishment that I had to do that you will have to do.
Yes.
Or vice versa.
So
hopefully not vice versa.
I do not want to eat those wings, those spicy wings.
I've got some good options. I could make you run a 5K backwards in the middle of winter.
I would much rather do that.
I could have you eat those wings.
Maybe I shouldn't say that.
I could, I could have you make a recorder song, maybe a sequel.
Okay. Okay, I might have you not use your thumbs for a day, or
that would
not
be
use
rough.
one of your eyes for a day.
I'm a video editor on my keyboard.
Perfect.
So
you don't need that space bar.
It would be rough. I'd be like using my index finger for everything. Bloop, bloop,
Honestly,
bloop.
I think you could get by if you just train yourself to use your index finger for the space bar.
Okay, but
I think you
moving
could
the
do
mouse around, you'd have to use like the 2 fingers.
Oh,
your pinky and your index finger
no,
to
you
slide
could,
it.
You could work something out. You could just strap it to your hand.
Rubber band it to my hand
Yeah.
so it moves. Okay, there's some options there.
So I'm not going to pick that one. That's too easy.
Yeah, way too
That's
easy.
so easy.
I could make you drink a gallon of milk. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah.
In 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true. That's a recent one. Okay. So there's a lot of opportunity.
We also have not documented very well all the punishments that we've done. So I feel like I forgot a lot of
It'll
them.
be a nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah. I'll have to go back and listen to some of our past episodes for inspiration.
But it'll be good.
Okay. So to vote, if you've never voted before, you can vote in the show link below in the episode, or you can visit our social media at Learn Podcast. We've got it everywhere, but we mostly use Instagram. So check out Learn Podcasts at Learn Podcast on our Instagram. You can vote there. We also post some extra fun facts sometimes and whatever other entertaining things we can think of. So you'll want to be following us there. You can vote in either place. Don't forget to leave us a review. That's going to help us out a lot since we're trying to retire this year.
Yeah.
And Josiah's trees aren't good enough financially.
Hopefully
he'll need some extra boost. So
But you can review on Spotify now.
can you?
Yeah, so if you're a Spotify listener
Wow.
and you haven't been able to, if you're not like an iPhone user,
Uh-huh.
you can review us on there.
All you Spotify listeners,
Yeah.
you just heard exactly what you need to do right
You
now.
know what your calling is.
Anyone who has not left a review or even just clicked one of the stars, if you're too lazy to type something, just click the stars.
You know what? I take it back. I think you can only rate out of stars. I don't think you can write a review on Spotify
Okay.
at this point.
I understand. Spotify.
That's
Ugh.
a recording, but we'll see.
Well, everyone who has not rated, then click one of the stars right now
Easy
before you
peasy.
forget about it. And if you so choose to be so kind to us, you can write some words down and leave a review too.
Or write some words down, send it in the mail.
Yeah. Whatever you want. Whatever you want to do.
Just an encouraging note.
Yeah. Josiah, that's all I have.
Okay.
What do you have anything else?
I got nothing else.
Okay. You wanna end this puppy?
Yeah, I do. Larry, would you please play us out?
Please.